everybody. Drew from Drew's Roofing and Home Repair. And I will say that I don't do a lot of videos like this, but this particular video is a video that I just haven't made yet. So I thought I would go ahead and throw it out there. It's a drone video, and it would probably be pretty boring if I hadn't at least talked. We'll put some music here and there. So here we go. Alright, so how we start these things out is we will take a tape measure and we'll add, you see that see where it's hanging out? About 6 inches right there. We got a 6-inch overhang, and the way we do that is by hooking the edge of the roof and pulling in 3'6", and we do that at both ends, and we pop lines. The lines aren't very visible here on the screen, but we definitely popped lines. You can see them now and again. The up and down lines are for the ends of the plywood so that we know where they stop. Sometimes they don't break right on 8 foot. You can notice as Paul walks across that roof that it will go up and down, and if you walk across your roof it will do the same thing. Sometimes even worse than that. So whatever you do, don't be walking up on your roof on a mobile home and just stepping anywhere. If you notice, Paul was kind of stepping, number one, gently, but he was also stepping on the rafters themselves, because the last thing you want to do is go up on your roof and step in between the rafters, because that will cause you lots of problems. So this particular house is a job we did in Virginia, which it was quite a ways away from us. I guess we were about 8 hours from our home front. But what they're doing right now is, after they popped all the lines, and you can see the vertical lines, and then there's also a horizontal line for laying the plywood. You have to have them lines in order to keep your plywood, or OSB, excuse me, keep your OSB straight. And you notice they've got the first sheet down. You see that little overhang right there? That's 6 inches. You can go with any overhang you want, 2 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches. Can probably go up as far as a foot, but I would probably not recommend anything over 8 inches. So we're going with 6, and they're just laying them on the lines that we popped down through there. And the vertical lines is, he's using the vertical lines, chuck lines, so that he can put the screws into the rafters. We want to screw all these rafters together. We've got Bird up there taking the vents out. I think he ran into a few hornets' nests here and there. But he's going to remove the vents. He actually passed them down to me. I cleaned them all up while I was on the ground. Let my guys up there take care of the OSB while I was playing with my drone. That's Bill on the drill, excuse me. Bert is on the vent, and Paul is walking down there towards the other end. And I believe, what we got Chris. Chris would be down on the ground. He's actually making the fascia metal. You won't see any of the fascia metal in this particular video. All this video is showing you how we install the OSB and remove all the vents. We clean everything up really, really good. We're going to put EPDM rubber roofing. I buy all my supplies at ABC Supply Store. It's a roofing supply material kind of company. They sell siding, roofing, windows, and doors. But when it comes to roofing, that's what you're going to see where he's putting that screw. Where he's putting that screw in there, that you can, if you look, you'll see a vertical line going up and down. You see them lines? The reason why them lines are there is so that we know exactly where the center of that little 1.5 inch, sometimes 1 1/4 piece of wood is. We do not see the lines. Now you can see all the lines. We remove all them vents. Remove them all. But that line right there at the bottom to the edge is 3'6" and we popped it from one end to the other so that we can keep our OSB running straight. You see all the lines we made. So we literally take a lot of time marking the top. If you notice, right by next to the line, you'll see holes or little dark marks. Them are actually holes that we made into the roof, because we took like a Phillips screwdriver or a good sized nail and drove it in through the metal roofing itself, and we did that so that we could find each side, and then we marked the center, because we want our OSB to always break on rafters that are underneath that metal that you can't see. So in order to do that, we always make sure we literally poke holes and mark arrows where the center is. And then we just continue to work our way down through there and put our OSB and screws and cut holes where the vents were. And see Chris passing one up now. Chris was the ground guy. He's bending metal, passing up wood, cutting wood, whatever he has to do. You got Billy grabbing the sheet, sending it up. Paul's falling a little bit behind. Chris, you missed that shot. He's got his nice straight edge because we like straight lines. I make sure my guys use a straight edge and clamps when they're cutting lines because I don't like crooked lines. I like my OSB to butt together just like it's a factory sheet, even if we have to cut it to length, because sometimes the rafters on these things will be shorter than 8 feet, longer than 8 feet, whatever the case may be. You're probably going to have to cut a piece of OSB occasionally. You'll see Bill going down through there just nailing them, screwing in and screwing. Bert's going to just remove all the vents until they're all gone. We'll clean them up and reinstall them all on top of the EPDM. Hopefully this video helps you. If it does, make sure you slam that thumbs up button for me. If you like it, maybe somebody else will too. This is a pretty simple project. Just going to kind of talk you through the whole thing from one end to the other. And the most important thing is getting all your marks proper. If you have your marks right, then it's going to be easy. Bill's just going back through there, screwing, and when Paul gets a sheet up or he grabs a sheet up, they'll line it up with the other sheet, and then Paul down there is lining his up with the line. I guess we decided to go up a little ways with the drone and get a little view of the countryside. Like I say, this is Virginia. And after the Virginia job, we headed to New Jersey after this one, actually. This one here, we went to New Jersey after that. I'll be making a video of that too coming soon. I think I missed a few videos on my SD card that I never made. Isn't that beautiful? That drone right now is up about 400 feet, I guess, something like that. You can see it's a little bit hazy. That means it was hot. Man, it was hot. Beautiful country. You can tell we're out in the country somewhere with all them fields like that. Lots of fields. All right, back to work. All right, so we got the one side completely installed. Bill is going back and putting in a few screws. Bert has all the vents out, at least that he needed to for that point, and he's helping Paul now and go ahead and get them laid while Bill goes down through there and go ahead and gets everything screwed. And as you can see, Chris down there in the ground passing stuff up to everybody as they need it. Paul's probably telling him a number that he has to cut a sheet of that plywood to. Like I say, you see that clamp? When he cuts that, it's going to be a straight factory line. You can see my camera up there. I guess I did some other videos on the roof itself, so them videos are probably out there. I'm making this video literally almost 2 years after this video was made. I just found it on my SD card and hadn't made anything with it. Didn't have the ability to talk at that point. See there, we got an overhang down at the end also, so we gave it overhang. We're going to give this some nice beautiful white fascia, which I have many videos of us installing the fascia, making the fascia. You definitely going to need a metal brake. Look at all the lines. So important. Them lines are the most important thing that you can do when you're setting up your project. Make sure your lines are right. You don't want your OSB to go down there like looking like a snake. because nothing will work on the outside edge if that looks like a snake. It just about has to be perfect. So that's why we go to one end, mark 3'6", hook in the outside edge, go to the other. We pull a long chalk box from one end to the other. A guy stands in the middle, put his thumb down on it and make sure it's nice and straight, and he'll pop both sides. You can see Bert has the vents out already, and we will be coming back there after I get them cleaned up and installing them back on top of the rubber roofing. Unfortunately, somehow or another, I missed a little bit at the end of this video. I was hoping that I would have got them putting the seams together on the EPDM, but either way, this is step by step, literally, how we install the OSB, remove all the vents, screw everything down. You see that red chalk line that goes down through that bottom? That's 7 inches in from the outside edge. We always put a chalk line at 7 inches. Bill can go down through there and put a screw at 7 inches, and he'll hit something every time. If you put it at 6 inches, where you have 6 inches hanging over, that's not going to work out too good. You'll end up seeing all your screws on the outside. And so the 7 inches puts it right inside of a, if it's not a 2x on the outside edge, it's a 1x. So sometimes it's different. They're all different. Sometimes it's a 1x and you only have 3/4 of an inch to screw into. So if you mark back 7 inches and you want a 6-inch overhang, that's going to work out perfect for you. And that way he has something that tells him where that 3/4 inch board is down there, so he can screw straight into it, because you want that outside to be screwed down nice and solid. Nice and solid. Got Chris down there working on that piece. At one time we used to literally just take and pop a line and cut it, but I didn't like the fact that it was so crooked. So I said, look, we're going to put a clamp on them things, get a straight edge, set your saw properly, cut them things the way they're supposed to be, exact numbers, and it will be a factory edge. And then when I put my OSB together, you can see there's no gaps. We're not gapping it. It might have an 1/8 of an inch gap at the very most for expansion. But other than that, that's about all you want, is a little 1/8 inch expansion joint. You don't need much. Don't need much. Paul, he always has been a great helper. Bert and Chris, they worked with us maybe about 6 months. We did a lot of traveling. We were dealing with that damn COVID at the time, and COVID completely shut my traveling jobs down. It was hard to get a motel room. Material was outrageous. We were paying $45 for a sheet of OSB during that damn COVID. All right, so we didn't show the whole thing, but here they are. Got the two guys down in the ground. Actually, they're making metal. They're making metal. We won't have any metal installed on this particular job. But, oh yeah, you notice right in front of Paul, that's a piece of rubber. Bill probably just carried that up and threw it down on the roof. 7.5 feet. It's 8 feet. Excuse me. It's 7.5 feet from the peak to the outside edge. So if we cut a piece of rubber 16 feet wide by however long we want it, generally we go 30 feet if the rubber is 30 foot wide, 20 feet if it's only 20 feet wide. You can buy rubber in different sizes. Generally I buy the 30 foot. So we'll cut a piece of rubber 16 foot wide off of a piece, and we'll lay that up there, and that gives us 16 for the width and 30 feet long. That trailer is right around 60, I think it was right around 60 feet, a little bit less maybe. Okay, so now we've laid out the rubber. What you do is just take the rubber and go from one end to the other, lay it out flat, and kind of put it where you want to. And what Bert is doing right now is he's rolling out what we call water-based substrate glue. Let me think. What particular glue are we using? Gosh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. But either way, we buy it at ABC Supply, and it is a water-based single-sided. Now, single-sided means you only have to put it on the OSB, or you could put it on the rubber, but obviously it's easier to put it on the OSB, and they'll go out about 3 feet, make sure it's good, white, milky. Bert's like, get that thing out of here, get that thing out of here. So we'll make sure it's nice and milky and thick and kind of consistent all the way from one end to the other, or side to side. And then these guys will get down and pull that rubber onto that milky substrate glue. Man, it's hot. You guys trying to stay cool. The reason why he has that piece of rubber obviously underneath that bucket is because if he didn't, it'd slide off the roof, because there is a pitch on this roof. See here? Now they're going to pull it. It's going to pull it straight out. I think Paul should be at the other end putting a little bit of air under it. I'm not sure if he's up there or not. It doesn't look like it. Yep, there you go. Just like that. So easy. And then what are they going to do? Same thing they just did. Oh, it was. Paul was out there. Now you see Paul with the broom. He's pushing the rubber down into the substrate glue for good solid contact. Chris down here in the orange shirt, he's starting to clean the seams. As them two are going ahead and running their EPDM rubber out, and Paul's pushing it down in so it gets good contact. You'll see Chris over there with the orange shirt on. He's using a cleaner. That's EPDM rubber cleaner. And then after he cleans it, and all he's cleaning is that white powder substance that's on it, which is what keeps it from sticking together in the shipping process, or while it's at the building supply, or whatever the case may be. But he'll use that cleaner on it. These guys are just pulling that rubber. What I like about that single-sided substrate glue is it is so forgiving. It's amazing. If you use the double, like you put, it's a yellow, it's oil-based glue. If you use that stuff, it's going to be a nightmare. It's so hard to do. It will definitely be a harder job. The white substrate is really, to me, the way to go. The only time you wouldn't use that stuff is if it got below 32 degrees, which is freezing. If it drops below 32, you don't really want to use that glue because it is water-based. At least if it doesn't get dry first. So, and the reason why Paul has that broom, he wants to make sure that the bubbles, the air is pushed out from underneath, and there's not a bunch of bubbles. So, even though it looks like these guys are in the same spot for a little while, we're actually moving on. And after we get that piece up there, by the way, we'll spread it out, get it where we want it, fold it back in half. And that's why you're seeing right now is it was folded, and now they're pulling that fold back out as they install the white substrate glue. And Paul's just trying to get the bubbles to drop down. It's very easy, I will say, to get a bubble in this stuff. So you don't have to push it down. But again, Chris has already done the cleaner, and you can see that seam. It looks like it's darker. That's because the talcum that they ship that stuff with, or powder, whatever that might be, I think it's some type of a talcum powder, keeps it from sticking together. He's washed that off, and now he's installing the seam tape glue. Unfortunately, I didn't get, I don't think, any video of him actually installing the seam tape, but he is doing the cleaner, and now he's doing the glue. You can literally put that stuff on, and I don't care if it sat there for 2 hours and you didn't touch it, you'd be fine. But what you don't want to do is put that stuff on there and put your seam tape on before it completely dries to the touch. You'll want to be able to touch that without it stringing off of your finger. I guess Chris is the only orange shirt today. And that's me jumping up on the roof with a drone flying up in there. I was like, well, I got to come up. I'm walking gently because I don't want to pull any wrinkles in that rubber, and it is on an angle, so I'm probably going down there to grab my camera, probably move it a little closer. I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I do have a video of this project from that camera that I'm working with now with more detail, but I didn't really ever get to make a video with my drone, so I said, what the heck, I've got the video, I might as well make it, and then I can always excuse me, sit here and explain to you as I'm going what we're doing. We generally do about 3 foot at a time, because if you do any more than that, you can't bend down and reach that rubber, and you got to reach the rubber and pull it into your substrate glue, and then Paul comes back and just kind of pushes it down. That piece I'm walking on now has just been glued down already. So I'm trying to be easy walking on it. Got them big old boots on. Chris is folded back. What he did was he folded back the last 12 inches or so of that rubber and cleaned it where they join together. The seam tape is only 6 inches wide, so really if you did 7 inches, you'd be fine. I think he's doing just a little bit more than that, but that's fine too. You see Paul, he's just kind of trying to make sure that the bubbles are all pushed out, and you don't have to push real hard if you do. I mean, really, it's probably bad anyways. You'll push more wrinkles into it. This project is so daggum simple, people. You could do this yourself. The reason why I make these videos is because I want you to be able to see that you can actually do this yourself. And actually, recently, I've had a lot of people telling me that they are actually working on their mobile home doing exactly this, and they've sent me pictures, and it's come out pretty daggum amazing. We've only got a few more minutes, I guess, of this video here, maybe 5 minutes. So anyways, I think you know pretty much what's going on. Eventually, we'll get this thing finished, and we just move right on to the next job. So we had 2 of them, Virginia and then New Jersey. New Jersey. Chemung, that was the name. I was trying to think of the name of it. It's Chemung, New Jersey would be the next place we went to after this one. Chemung, New Jersey. So we traveled around for a while, and we really enjoyed doing it. We've done so many of these things together, it's not even funny. Paul and I have been doing them for probably close to 20 years since we did it. See that little bubble? Watch. He's going to push it. Get rid of them bubbles. Look at that. And that broom, all it does is just pushes that rubber down into that substrate glue that we've got. Look at that. See there? Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful work. Now Chris, after they finish pulling back, yeah, that's right, thumbs up, yeehaw, Drew saying hey. Chris will start running the 6-inch seam tape on the ends, and that will be pretty much the end of the job for the top part. And then Chris and Bert will go down and they'll start bending metal, and Bill and I, or Paul and I, will start installing it. So that's not part of the video you're going to see on this one. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for stopping by. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and the bell notification so you're notified next time I put a video out. I'm not doing a lot more of these, but I do have a lot of them if you want to go back and just check them out. We'll see you on the next one, guys. What's next? What's next? Don't miss my other videos. I'm telling you, I've got so many of these videos of us doing this. Don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it, I promise.